Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Namaste friends. Today's topic would be on timing events using Sadhu Paddhati. As I already told you in my last video that my revered motivator and subscriber Shri Santisaga Dasika, he suggested to make a video on RK Das's works, the Sadhu Paddhati. So I ordered the book. I was not aware about the system, and also he gave me the reference to the YouTube video that you see here from Saptarishi's Astrology magazine YouTube channel, and that was very clearly exposing the system so very nicely. For all of you, if you have to follow this particular Excel, you better start with this particular YouTube video. And the current Excel is based upon to replicate at least the marriage part for the Sadhu Paddhati marriage. So the idea behind it is, let me maybe take up a mind map of what it is going to be, so that we get a clear picture of what we are attempting here. So here it is. The idea is you have a D1 chart and a chart of specific to the nature of here in this case, since it is marriage, we take the D9 chart. So for these two charts, and the channel calls it as two prisms, we talk about why does marriage take place at a later date or a specific date? What is the cause for delay of marriage, and from the chart, and there are there reductions, and then the net delay is averaged out, and a particular a specific period range of years is arrived at, and it's finally narrowed down using Navamsha, which is the Bhagya of the person. So in this, what we do is, at three levels, if we take one prism which is D1, we consider it from three levels, which is they call the Atma level, the Lagna level, and then the Chandra level. So basically the general level, which is the Atma's Surya's level. This is Atma is Surya, so this is a Surya level. Lagna level, as per the Sudarshana framework, we have the Chandra level, which is the astral level. In each of these cases, we erect out what is the cause for delay from the chart, and these are called escalation factors, which escalate the delay. So escalation is basically a negative thing, which is I have marked it as red here, and depending upon some conditions, like if Saturn aspects Sun, or if Saturn is with Sun, at the Atma level, these are the escalation factors. And for each escalation factor, there is a reduction factor, RF, which is a positive thing. And if planets with Saturn and Sun are there, then that reduces the delay. Or if planets aspecting Sun. So these rules are very clearly laid out in the YouTube channel that I told you about, that particular video. And thus we, for each case, we have an escalation factor and a reduction factor, and we average it out, and there is a period arrived at. And that's similar the case with Lagna. So I don't have to walk you through all of that, because the Excel will clarify that. Then finally we have a delay formula, like something like this. We will see it in the Excel. So let me tell you how the Excel is. So my book, once I started making this Excel and got it ready, the book on Sadhu Paddhati arrived later only, and I checked. Most of the charts, they don't just specify the date of birth and time of birth, but they give you directly in what Rasi each of the planets on the ascendant is, and also the Navamsha in which it is. So if I say 10 for the Navamsha, Surya's Navamsha, that means the 10th Rasi from Aries, which is essentially Capricorn, Makara. So these numbers are specified for each of the charts. So my thought was, suppose I have to use my framework in which we get the Graga's longitudes and we base everything further on the longitudes of the planets and the ascendant. I removed all the formulas. For instance, here I don't have a formula now. The original formula was mod of planet GMT, 360, all this. This was for Surya. So 0 represented Surya, 1 represented Chandra, 4 represented Mars, 2 represented Mercury, because these numbers are based upon the ephemeris, the DL that we use for getting the longitude. So that depending on how far it is from Surya, the numbers would be given. Mercury would be quite near, so it would carry a number 2 there. Jupiter would be far, it would carry a number 5. Venus would be the third. Saturn 6. Rahu 10. Ketu we calculate ourselves as 180 from Saturn. So in case you want to use the formula for any particular person, giving the reference number, you have to enter those formulas based upon this here. But now I'm not doing it because I want to just validate many cases from the book. So I removed the formulas, and instead, if I have to given a Rasi number, given a Navamsa number, can we associate with it a particular 360 degree in the Rasi chart? If we can get a chart itself, that was my question. So the user has to enter Rasi number, the Navamsa number, and then they based upon if it is a earthy sign or a watery sign or a fire sign, which are calculated by formulas here, and the Navamsa count, if it is a earthy sign, what is the Navamsa count and number of Navamsas that from within the Rasi. So this is the Navamsa count from the reference, which is the air sign, or the for air sign it would be from Libra, from earthy sign it would be from Capricorn. So the counting would be different, and based upon that I find the actual number of Navamsas within this Rasi, the 7th Rasi. It is the 4th Navamsa that would fall in Capricorn. So based upon that, if it is going to be the middle of that Navamsa, I get a degree. So essentially the input is only these two, and it will output a particular set of degrees for the planets. You just copy that, go here and paste it here as numbers. So all these are pasted as numbers. Instead of formulas, basically longitudes are directly pasted here. So if you want to get back to formulas, you basically write these formulas here, and that would determine the longitudes from deeper formulas here. So that's one thing. And this Paddhati essentially would first determine if for immediately these charts are as before done by the Excel, and Jupiter, Venus are treated as benefics as usual, and is moon benefic. To get that answer, the difference between moon and sun, if it is plus or minus 90 degrees, then moon is considered to be malefic. If it is more than 90 degrees, then it is considered to be benefic. So if it is very near to the Surya, it is considered malefic. Away from Surya. So here, for instance, Surya is here, and the 7th house is here. If it is 9 houses, 90 degrees away from these sides, then it is benefic. So that calculation is made by the model, the formula here. So it outputs whether Surya is, Chandra is benefic or not. Exactly 90 degrees either way from the 7th house is benefic. Similarly, Mercury, is it benefic or a malefic? Natural benefic or a malefic comes out based upon general rules that Mercury, if it is associated with a negative planet like Mars or Surya or Saturn or Rahu or Ketu, irrespective of whether Jupiter or Venus is present in that same sign, even if Jupiter is present, if Mars is there, Mercury is considered malefic. So that is what this Sadhu Paddhati uses as definition. So that is also determined by formulas. I put a VBA code inside which will identify whether Mercury is benefic or malefic. And this has to be done not only for the D1 chart, this has to be done for the D9 chart as well. It will find for the D9 chart the status of moon and status of Mercury as say it's malefic year, just because it is very near to Surya, not even 3 signs. So this is nearer to Surya. Mercury, if you see, Mercury is a benefic because it's unassociated and that is a benefic year. So these calculations are done both for Rasi and Navamsha. Let us get back to now the aspects part of it. Aspects, all planets have the 7th house aspect. So if you see 7 would be coming here for all planets. Ketu does not have any aspect in this chart, in this Paddhati. So we don't write Ketu at all as a Graham. Now in addition, as regular 4, 7, 8, 4 and 8 are additional aspects for Mars, and 5, 9 for Jupiter, 3, 10 for Saturn, and for Rahu 2 is also considered to be an aspecting house. So 2, 5, 7, 9 from Rahu are aspected by Rahu. So this will identify which grahams are getting aspected in this chart, and also a particular, if Saturn aspects, what all the signs that Saturn aspects. And similarly, I wanted to do for all other planets, then it will make life very easy. So I have stopped at just Saturn. I'll tell you how we do it otherwise. And also there is a definition called pure benefics. Pure benefics are benefics which are natural benefics that are unassociated, uncorrupted by any other planet. So in this case, if you say Jupiter is a natural benefic, it is unassociated, uncorrupted by any other malefic. So Jupiter can be considered as a pure benefic. And Moon is a pure benefic. Mercury anyway, it is not a benefic at all. And Venus also corrupted by Sun and Saturn, so it is also a malefic. Not a malefic, Venus is not a pure benefic in this chart. Similarly, you have to compute separately for this chart, and you will have to answer multiple questions here to arrive at the reduction factor. So how I have constructed this chart is, you have to press the initialize first, so that all the answers that are already existing will be removed, and you have to freshly start making these 2 tables, I would say. As I said, it is all Sudarshana Chakra point of view. So the prism 1 is the chart of the main chart, which is D1, and also the prism, another prism is the chart of interest, like marriage, if it is marriage D9, if it is children it is Saptamsa, if it is profession D10, and all that you have to look into. And then for each of these prisms there are 3 perspectives that one has to look at. As I already told you on the mind map, it is the general level, the physical level, and the astral level. So Sudarshana Chakra based perspectives, which is Surya for the Atma, Chandra, Lagna for the physical level, and Chandra for the astral level. So, and for each of these, there is an escalation factor which I have marked as red, which will cause the delays, and you have to answer if yes or no for each of these questions. So for the chart, to facilitate that, what I did here was, of course only for the South Indian part of the chart, the North Indian part is there, but it is a fixed position. For the South Indian, there are sometimes you might have to click here for each of the bhavas, so that it updates each. Otherwise sometimes the old one leaks here. You can pull it here, at least to facilitate wherever you want to answer the questions. Okay, you can pull it and keep it anywhere you want. Now I press the initialize button to start with. I'm not going to do it now because it's already answered. So then I go one question after the other. So I come here and maybe I want to answer. This is the column the user input needs to be given. That is basically you have to answer if yes or no. So once I press a cell in the column, it will highlight the row as well as the column for you to easily identify what the question is and what level it is. So we are now first taking up the Atma level question. Does Saturn aspect Surya? So to facilitate that, there is an helper column also that I will come to later. You can see similarly if Saturn aspect Surya or not. Saturn is with Surya, it is not aspecting Surya. So the answer to that is no. If there is only a yes there, if it is going to be a no, just delete it, it will go away. Okay. Then the second question is Saturn with Surya? Saturn is with Surya, so you have to pull out a yes there. Okay. Now the third question is at the physical level. So at the general level, very simple, only two questions. Is Saturn with Sun or Saturn aspecting Sun? In the physical level, again there are multiple questions, but these two are also there. Does Saturn aspect HP? HP is the house of purpose. We are talking about marriage, and the house of purpose is the 7th house. So does Saturn aspect the 7th house? Here the Lagna itself is Mithuna and the 7th house is Sagittarius. To help you, maybe if you are finding it difficult here, you can pull it anywhere here. And the same row, or at least this level, same level tells you what is the HP. So the HP is Sagittarius here. That is the house of purpose is Sagittarius. And the house of purpose Lord of Sagittarius is Jupiter. Now does Saturn aspect Sagittarius or Saturn aspect Jupiter in this chart? Saturn does aspect Sagittarius. So you have to choose a yes here. Does it aspect Saturn also? If both are also there, it is still a yes there. Okay. Now is Saturn with HP or HPL? That is it with Sagittarius or with Jupiter? It is neither. So we don't have to answer anything there. So if it is a no, you don't have to answer at all. 7th Lord and 5th Lord aspect each other mutually is the question. Do they aspect? Now what is the 7th Lord and the 5th Lord? The 7th Lord is Jupiter and the 5th, this is a helper column. The 5th Lord is Venus. So Jupiter and Venus, do they aspect each other? Jupiter is here, Venus is here, they don't aspect at all, so you don't have to answer that. 7th Lord and 5th Lord in Virgo, same sign. Is Jupiter with Venus? No. Is 7th Lord and 5th Lord exchange houses? Venus is in her own house, so it's not no exchange there. Now we come to the, now this 5th and 7th, why does it come here? Is because the 5th is considered a Badaka house to the 7th. 7th is the house of purpose and 5th is the 11th from it. As normal astrology, for movable signs alone, we have the 11th as Badaka. For fixed signs, it's the 9th house, and for common signs, it's the 7th house, is generally what we read in the general astrology. Whereas here in this Sadhu Paddhati, all these 7, 9 and 11 are Badaka houses for all the bhavas, all the, whether irrespective of movable or fixed or dual. That way, when you see the 5th house, it is 11th to the house of purpose. So it becomes a Badaka to the house of purpose. So you are basically checking the 7th house and the Badaka house to the 7th, and you are going to answer those questions as per this Paddhati. Okay, that part is the physical level. We have covered one portion, which is the 5th and the 7th, the role of the Badaka. And also they check the 7th house from the house of purpose, which is the ascendant. So ascendant is a Badaka to the 7th house in a way. And the 11th as such is a Badaka to the self itself. So they compare these two. And we have to answer again the same questions this way, checking whether Lagna Lord and the 11th Lord in the same sign. So you are confused, what is the Lagna Lord, what is the 11th Lord? Just check here. The Lagna Lord is Mercury and the 11th Lord is Mars. Do Mars and Mercury combine anywhere? Or yeah, Mars and Mercury, do they? Yes, they do combine in the chart. So you press a yes there. That way you keep answering here and then come to the astral level. In the astral level, same questions, but one has to mind that the 7th house need not be the same as from the Lagna. It is from the moon. So you will be confused. The house of purpose here is Virgo here, because moon is in Pisces, the 7th house is Virgo. So the house of purpose and the house of purpose lord are going to be different at the astral level. So one has to, and the 7th lord will be different, the 5th lord will be different. So you have to answer based upon that. Once you answer this, all that are yes will be marked red automatically, and all that are the negative ones, which are the escalating factors, and the program already adds up whether if it is a yes. And one specific question you have to be very careful, because if the sun is in the 3rd, which is both for the physical level and also from the astral level, from the lagna or from the moon, then if you are going to press a yes there, then that is a big yes, I would say, because that is a big escalating factor. That would add 3 units if the answer is C71. C71 would be this. I have to mark even this C58. Okay. So I have to, I think, I'll modify this later on and then post it when you can download. Basically, the marks are 3 for this yes and 3 for this yes as well. Whereas for all the other yes, it would be a one mark. So that has to be, in this case there is no yes here, so it doesn't matter, but I have to modify that formula. I have wrongly written it here, but it doesn't matter. I'll change it and post it to you. So in essence, all the escalating factors are added up. Similarly, for each of the escalating factors, there is something called a reduction of the delays, which is a positive one, which is going to be green, and the user has to enter again this particular column. Whether there are planets, if this, this has to be answered only for which are the rows which have a yes here. So you don't have to bother about other rows. So when I see a yes here, I immediately come and answer something here. Or planets with Saturn plus Sun here. Yes, Saturn plus Sun has a Venus there. So I write the name of the planet here. If there are going to be multiple planets, you just write like here. You just leave a gap and then keep on adding. You don't have to even leave a gap if you would prefer so. Basically, it will count to the number of capital letters. So, but you have to write it as M small a, not M capital A. Each capital letter would be counted as a planet. So one has to answer these questions, whether planets are with Saturn, and at the physical level, you have to come back only to yes here and then answer here. So if there is no answer, just leave it empty. Planets with Lagna Lord and 11th Lord only. Lagna Lord is Mars, 11th Lord is Lagna Lord is Mercury, 11th Lord is Mars. Are there any planets with these two? Nothing. Therefore, you can't answer anything there. Just leave it. So similarly, once you complete that answering, this will add up all the reducing factors. That I have a VBA code behind to add up all the reducing factors. In addition to this, at the physical level and the astral level, we have other reducing factors called the benefic HP. HP is the house of purpose. So the house of purpose means something only for the Lagna reference or the moon reference. So only for these two columns you have to answer. Basically, does HP belong to benefic sign? See, in this case, HP is the 7th house from Lagna. It is a Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is a benefic sign. Therefore, this is a natural benefic sign. So you have to choose accordingly a yes or no. And the other question is, if the natural benefic, any natural benefic aspects the HP. So in this case, HP is here. Is any planet aspecting it? Planets, okay. Natural benefic planets aspecting, you see Jupiter aspecting Sagittarius. Therefore, you see, choose a yes here. Otherwise, a no. You don't have to, otherwise, if there is a no, you don't have to write anything there. It will count the number of yeses and put up here. And there is what is called a special benefic. Special benefic is a pure benefic, that is a uncorrupted natural benefic. So you see here, Jupiter is a pure benefic in this chart. Moon is a pure benefic in this chart, whereas Venus is not. Venus is an impure benefic. So is Mercury is not a benefic at all. Therefore, you have to choose here whether there are pure benefics in the chart or not. It is not relevant to any particular row. It is a general message whether special benefics are there or not. So you have to choose if there are more number of, there is only 4 possibility here. Either Jupiter, you have Venus, you can have sometimes Moon, you can have sometimes Mercury. So depending on that, so pure benefic is something different from natural benefic. So that you have to, the same process is repeated for the D9 chart. And once that is done, you can pull this as well here to any place you require. Then essentially what the program does is uses a formula that's given in the book. It has a base which it takes from, a base is something it is pulling out from tables. If the person is born from 1800 to 1900, if it is a male chart, it will be some number. Female chart, it is some number. The book does not talk about 1800 or 1900. It started with only 1930s, and before that, I myself extrapolated this portion. So it is left to you to delete this or leave it as such. Similarly, it gives about this row, but it doesn't talk about these rows and all. I myself pulled some number, put in some number. Essentially what is, in those years, in these times, the general male that got married was around 23 years and slightly lesser for females. Always female is lesser than the male. So this is a table that you can populate. I put it mostly based upon the book, and I extrapolated myself here and there, and for the last row and the first row, I think. And if it is going to be later years, you might have to put in numbers there. As a base case, general population, the minimum time when male gets generally married. So that is, so these numbers, the base is pulled from this table. So the base depends upon the birth year and the gender. So you have to, the table, column and row are based upon birth year and the gender. Then step is something called plinth in the book, and it is a fixed number, and that is depending upon male or female, it will put a 5 or a 4 there. So that is automatically done, and that is the case generally even for for the entire charts, both the charts. Escalation factor is the sum of all these, so it will have the sum of all these. So the escalation is the red one. So it will pull out the escalation factor. And the MF factor, MF is a factor which if it is a male, it is going to be a 4. If it is a female, it is going to be a 3 as per the book. And reducing factors arise because of multiple things, and it adds up all the reducing factors. And the delay is arrived at from a formula which includes also a modification factor called M. Sometimes, mostly it will be 1. So you can put your modification factor as 1. And then, of course, this particular example required a further modification as 1.5 as per the book. There is no rhyme or reason why 1.5. Essentially, you can start with 1, and many of the things worked well for me with 1. Very rarely you might have to change the M there. So as I said, this is same repetition done for the D9 chart as well, and there is a net delay that the program computes as basically the average of these two delays. Once that is done, it arrives at a set of vicinity of years. It basically adds this 38 to the date of birth, the year of birth, and 2 years behind and 2 years ahead, so that this would be the mean year is arrived at. So this person can be born, can get married between 1991 to 1995 is what the set of vicinity years it says. Now, whether within this year would he get married in 94 or would he get married in 91, that final decision is made from what they arrived as punya, that is derived from the Navamsha chart. So it finds a offset, destiny offset, that is determined based upon, see, in D1 chart where is the ascendant, sun, moon, these are all computed by the program. In D9 chart where is the ascendant and all that. Now, where is the ascendant lord? And the number of Navamshas crossed by the ascendant lord in both the charts, both in D1 and D9. Number of Navamshas it computes. 52 Navamshas it has crossed. Totally there are 108 Navamshas. And 63 Navamshas is what Venus crosses. 52 Navamsha is what Mercury crosses, because based upon the D1 ascendant lord and the D9 ascendant lord. And it will sum up both. And there is a table here. Based upon that, if it goes through this table and pulls out a number, before that, there is also another table which will basically the row. Basically, the row for the table is computed from this destiny factor. The sum of these two gets used at this table, not this table. So it goes to this table. It determines from the Rashi and the Navamsa. It has a table there, so it will pull out what is the. It is basically getting from the row, and the row itself is a function of the Navamsa. Okay, and also the next other table is used to get the number of years offset. Again from the ABCD that you determined from the alphabet that you got from this table, it will get you the destiny offset years, and the 3 years it says. So you start from here counting 1, 2 and 3. So this says that in 1993 this person would get married. So this worked out exactly for me, for my own chart, and Bill Gates required a modification for this M as 1.5, and most of the charts this is the same tech method is used for when you get a profession, when you get into a good job. This is a very interesting method, definitely very nicely verifiable with multiple charts. So I thought it would be useful for you to use this Excel. But I would warn you, you have to be extremely careful in, you basically see this video and then check if these are correctly put in there. Always start with a blank answer sheet. You press a initialize, it will become blank. And that focus clearly and answer these questions. And then the count, because the count will matter, even a single digit there. If you see the formula, it is getting multiplied by a multiplication factor here. So if the EF is going to be 1 unit off, you will be many years away in your base case. So yes, the reduction factor also, of course it is not getting multiplied, but 1 year off here and there will be a problem there. So the net delay and the vicinity of years, this is the technology. So if you are going to use for a new chart, what you have to do is go to put in your Rashi number and the Navamsa number for the chart if you know that. Otherwise, if you don't know, if you want to just evaluate for multiple peoples, you put these formulas back here. Just choose the reference number from your database, as I put in from other videos. Choose the name, it will choose the name as per the reference number, and it will calculate the degrees. Once the degrees are calculated, all these are automated in this Excel. And give me feedback in your comment section how it is working, and if you find it useful, let us check that. I'll be away from making YouTube videos for a couple of weeks at least. So I will join you back later. Thank you so much. I will put the downloadable links in the description. You can download and check how it works. Bye.